and then becoming the biggest surprise of this campaign. They are honestly insane. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's video where we're going to be taking a look at what if Italian regions were united in 1444. So as you all know, a couple of weeks ago we did a similar type of video for Germany where we made the German formable nations own every province in that culture in the Germanic culture group. Well, this week we're doing a similar thing with the Italian culture nations and their regions. Of course, there aren't as many Italian formable nations, but you get the point. Let's start off in the north where we have the much beloved nation of Sardinia-Piedmont owning all of the Piedmontese cultured provinces. Over here we have the nation of Milan. They're not a formable nation. They exist in 1444 and they own all the Lombard cultured provinces. Going over to this side we have the nation of Venice. They have shrunk a bit because they lost everything outside of the Venetian cultured provinces. No vassals and no provinces down here, but they did gain Trent and Trieste because they are Venetian cultured provinces. This is Venice. Going down here we have the nation of Ferrara, another nation that exists in 1444, owning all of the Romagnol cultured provinces, as we can see these 6. Then down here we have the nation of Genoa, owning all of the Ligurian cultured provinces. They've also lost these possessions over here and some in the Balkans and in the Pontic steppe, so they only own the Ligurian cultured provinces. Going down here we have another fan favorite formable nation, the nation of Tuscany. They have the De Medicis on their throne. 655, I'm rooting for them. They own the Tuscan cultured provinces. Going over here in the western Mediterranean islands we have the nation of Sardinia, a releasable nation in 1444. They own all of the Sardinian cultured provinces. These 4, so Sardinia and Corsica as well. Going over to central Italy we have the Pope owning the Umbrian cultured provinces. They're the Pope. Will they be the most powerful? Maybe, let's see. Going down here we have Naples, independent of Aragon by the way. They own all of the Neapolitan cultured provinces. Going down south in Calabria and Sicily we have the nation of Sicily owning the Sicilian cultured provinces. I didn't form the 2 Sicilies on purpose, so maybe we can see either Sicily or Naples forming them. So let's leave that up to chance and let's let them battle it out for that. Over here we have the nation of Dalmatia owning all of the Dalmatian cultured provinces. Sure, they're not in the region of Italy, but they're in the Italian culture group, another releasable nation with very powerful national ideas. So I'm excited to see what they get up to. And finally down here on the island of Malta we have the nation of Malta because we have the Maltese culture present here. By the way, Malta Fort's new monument in 1.32, anyone? Oh yeah, Royal Palace of Caserta, another new monument. Santa Maria del Fiore, another new monument. The Doge's Palace, another new monument. So definitely these nations have lots of monuments over here in Italy and I'm excited to see what they'll do with them. So what do you think will happen? Leave your predictions in the comments below and tell me which nation you're rooting for. And if you like this video, definitely don't hesitate to leave a like. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to see more what if videos, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. Let's kickstart the scenario and we'll check back in 1480. So now it's 1480. Let's take a look at what our Italian nations have been up to. Starting off at the top, we can see that Sardinia-Piedmont, they haven't been doing much. They've allied Salzburg, Nassau, and the 3 leagues. That's about it. Milan, they're also looking about the same, and they've allied Nassau and Herzegovina. Over here, Venice has expanded. In fact, they've taken back the provinces that they've lost from Dalmatia, almost all of them. This one is owned by Serbia, which, wait, they're gone from here, but they're present here? I don't know what's up with that, but Dalmatia is the first nation to disappear, losing their provinces to Venice. Over here we have Ferrara, surprisingly very powerful, expanding 2 provinces into Tuscany, taking Lucca and Florence from Tuscany, and now Tuscany is down to just these 3 provinces. They're also not Medici anymore. Sad. Over here we have Genoa. They've taken back Corsica from Sardinia. Speaking of Sardinia, they're gone. The rest of their provinces have been reconquered by Aragon and, well, it is what it is. The Pope remains unchanged. They have lost their province over here to Provence, which I forgot to remove. Sorry about that, but looks like it hasn't made much of an impact even though they had it. Now they don't, and they still look the same. They still own all the Umbrian provinces. Going down south, this is the biggest surprise. Look at Sicily, man. Look at Sicily. Not only have they eaten up half of Naples, taking the province of Napoli from them, but they've also expanded massively in Tunis and the Maghreb region. Look at all these provinces they own, man. In fact, they seem to have taken them over recently because, as you guys can see, they're still coring all of them. So shout out Sicily, man. Super surprising to me. I thought Sardinia, Piedmont was gonna go wild, and Naples too, but it seems that it was Sicily. Going back to Naples, they've also taken the province of Corfu from, well, probably the nation of Corfu, since, as you guys know, it wasn't owned by Venice, and Malta is sadly also gone, having been reconquered from Aragon. 8 nations have cores on Malta. Sardinia too? Looks like Sardinia took it first, but I don't know what that is all about. So that's what things are looking like in 1480. I also forgot to mention that I removed all of these nations from the HRE, even though they were gonna leave in 1460. I still felt it was appropriate to remove them at the start, but it seems that Sardinia Piedmont has rejoined the HRE, so there's a little dynamic at play there. None of the other nations are in the HRE, and that's what things are looking like right now. Things are definitely ramping up. We'll check back in 1530 and see if any of them will reform. So now it's 1530, let's take a look at what's been going on in the past 50 years right off the bat. We can see that we have the two Sicilies. Of course, you guys would be correct to assume that the two Sicilies were formed by Sicily. Honestly, I didn't think either Sicily or Naples would form them, but it turns out Sicily did form them. Surprising me once again, expanding once again, they own even more of the Maghreb, taking over almost the entirety of Tunis. Now Tunis just exists down here, and they're being gobbled up by Tlemcen and the Mamluks. The two Sicilies, for some reason, they have this. I don't know how this happened. Maybe they fought Epirus, although they were allied to Epirus, so I don't know how that happened. Maybe they vassalized them, or maybe it was a PU. Doubt it was a PU, but the Ottomans, they seem to be on the back foot versus Hungary, Albania, Ragusa, and Scilly. Either way, the Pope still remains unchanged. Tuscany have gotten back some of their provinces. Ferrara, our second most powerful nation in Italy, is literally gone. Bologna has popped out of it. Tuscany has gotten back their provinces. Venice have taken over some other provinces that they owned. This is owned by Switzerland for some reason. I don't know how that happened, but I do know Switzerland did expand a bit into Italy at one point. Looks like this is all they have left there. And I'm sad to say that Sardinia Piedmont is gone. F in the chat, boys. F in the chat. We have this province, Saluzzo, being taken over by Provence. Savoy has popped out of these two. Montferrat has also popped out. And Genoa, they have expanded into the province of Parma as well. Venice have been expanding quite a bit, taking these two provinces from Milan, and like I said, these three from Ferrara. They've also expanded over here in this area too, taking these two provinces from Austria. And that's what things are looking like for our Italian nations. Elsewhere in the world, I am noticing things are quite a bit different. Maybe it's due to the 1.32 update. This is definitely due to the 1.32 update. Natives are looking a lot more reasonable than they would by this point in 131. We have a little bit of colonizing going on by Castile and Portugal, but not a lot. This is what it's looking like in Africa. Pretty fun. Huge Timurids, huge Mamluks, huge AQ. Ming has blown up, and Ashikaga is taking over Korea before even forming Japan. So they did say AI is a bit smarter. It may be a lot more smart than we think. The Protestant Reformation did spawn. England went Anglican, no Great Britain yet. We have some Protestant nations up here. Is Brandenburg finally gonna go Protestant? Dude, in Emperor and in Leviathan, they never went Protestant. They always remained Catholic, I swear. Is it because they were an elector? Either way, now Nassau is the emperor, and we have a huge hideout here. France is looking pretty strong too. They have Aragon as a junior partner. So now it's the 1580s, and we have had some major developments. Let's dive right into Italy, starting off with our MVP so far. This campaign, the two Sicilies, they've expanded even further in the Maghreb region. Looks like they've taken advantage of the Mamluk downfall to the Ottomans. As we can see, they've lost some provinces to the Ottomans. Of course, they're border gory, what else can you expect? But the two Sicilies have taken advantage of that, and they themselves have expanded into the Mamluks as well, taking quite a few provinces from them. In fact, this war just ended a couple of months ago. I was waiting for it to end so I could start recording, and that's what the two Sicilies are looking like. Going up over in central and northern Italy, it seems that Tuscany have reawakened from their slumber. Looks like them getting these two provinces back from Ferrara was a good thing from them, because they've almost full annexed the Pope. The Pope, even though they have a really strong alliances, they're left with just this one province, the province of Rome, of course, and the two Sicilies have expanded into these provinces here and these two up here as well, which were previously owned by Bologna. They're allied to the two Sicilies, Genoa, and Switzerland. Going up even further north, we can take a look at Venice. They're looking pretty stable. They have lost some provinces and gained other ones. Austria is looking very gory. They were down to these two provinces earlier, with Styria being released from some of these over here, but they seem to have gotten those back. Over here, Milan is on the downfall with just 3 provinces left. This one is still owned by Switzerland. Genoa have expanded in here and here as well, and Savoy have shrunken to just 1. Montferrat is doing well, but maybe not so well, since they're probably about to be annexed by Genoa or someone like that. And that's what things are looking like in the region of Italy. Going over into the religious map mode, we can see that Milan is reformed, and Montferrat and Savoy are also reformed. Some other provinces have been converted, but most of it is sticking to Catholic. The two Sicilies have been doing some conversion down here. Let's take a look at their ideas. Economic, trade, quantity, and religious. Really good picks from the two Sicilies. What about Tuscany? Admin, Diplo, offensive, economic. Not bad from them either. And Venice, trade, economic, quantity, humanist. So those are our 3 most powerful nations that we're focusing on so far. Aside from that, France is looking pretty big still. They're about to annex Aragon, and apparently they have Scotland as a junior partner as well. Really strong France this game. Bohemia is looking pretty strong themselves. Russia is massive, and the Ottomans, they're not expanding too much over here, but they just started pushing into the Mamluk. Timurids are still huge, no Mughals yet, and that's pretty much all the changes that have happened so far. We'll check back in 1630 in the age of absolutism. So now it's 1650, 20 years late. Sorry about that, but the game does run a little faster, so I misjudged it. Either way, let's take a look at what's been going on. Jumping straight into Italy, we can see that the two Sicilies have expanded even more. Growing in Italy this time, not so much in the Maghreb. I'm guessing they're stuck between the Ottomans and the Portuguese, but they have taken some provinces over here from Tuscany. Tuscany owned those after Tuscany themselves got pummeled by some other nations, and we can see that they're down to these 2 provinces right here. Meanwhile, Genoa has grown a bit. Venice, they're looking about the same. They're expanding in Austria for some reason. Milan is still alive now in these 2 provinces. Montferrat has grown by 1, and here we have little Savoy chilling in Torino. The Pope is still alive in Rome, but I'm guessing once one of these nations gets pretty close to forming Italy, they won't be afraid to take Rome anymore. The two Sicilies have also taken these provinces over here from the Ottomans after the Ottomans found themselves in separate wars versus the Timurids and versus Russia, and that's a big Russia, let me tell you. I'm guessing the two Sicilies took advantage of that and pummeled the Ottomans as well. While they were losing those 3 separate wars, Hungary popped out of here and some other nations may have popped out, which I can't seem to notice. Maybe Mushasha down here, why not? Either way, that's what things are looking like in Italy. France is huge. They have annexed Aragon, they're pushing into Castile, they've even annexed Scotland up here. So definitely the MVP outside of Italy for this campaign, along with the Ottomans. They're pretty strong too. In fact, a lot of nations are looking very strong. Look at Songhai over here, man. Moravi, they may even form Zimbabwe. Colonizing is going pretty well, historically accurate by the way. Have Galicia emigrated to the New World? Where's their capital? Of course, it's right here, level 1 fort. Wonderful. Going over from here to here. Now, who expected that? This is what North America looks like. Pretty nice, pretty nice. Back to pre-Leviathan appearances. The Netherlands have also formed. Protestant is the dominant faith in the HRE. Brandenburg is the emperor of all nations. And this is what the Reformation is looking like. So Genoa, they have gone reformed. The other Italian nations are still Catholic though. Of course, Montferrat and Savoy are reformed as well. Is Milan reformed? No, they're Catholic. So the two Sicilies are looking stronger and stronger by the minute, man. I wonder what they can accomplish by the end of the game. Can they form Italy? Honestly, I doubt it, because Genoa over here, they're allied to France and Venice. Venice, of course, is allied to Genoa and the two Sicilies as well. So maybe this is pretty much the extent of their conquests in Italy. Apart from taking these 2 provinces from Tuscany, I don't know what they can do. But they did defeat the Ottomans and the Mamluks, so yeah, they're looking very strong. They are in the Great Powers list, number 6. We have France, the Ottomans, Castile, Russia, Great Britain, 2 Sicilies, Timurids, Portugal. No one is a hegemon yet. So we'll check back in just 30 years in 1680. So now it's 1680, brief overview of the last 30 years. We can right away notice that Tuscany is gone. No more, yep, we just have a few nations left in Italy. A lot of them have been wiped out. The 2 Sicilies haven't grown, but Siena has been taken over by the Pope. And I think, what other province was left? Some province up here, well, that one is gone too, either to Genoa or to Venice or the 2 Sicilies. Sicilies. We still have Savoy chilling up here. Montferrat is gone as well. Milan is still up in these two provinces, and Venice is doing alright. They expanded over here a bit. The Ottoman collapse continues to go, but now they have a couple of allies and they're warning Hungary and Venice. Bulgaria has popped out for some reason, no allies just yet, and Hungary has managed to retake almost its entire territory over in the Carpathian Basin. Croatia has popped out too, and we have Styria right here for some reason too. Sardinia has also popped out for some reason. I don't know from who. Was this owned by France? Was it owned by Aragon? I have no idea, but let's check the province history. So it was annexed by Aragon, Sicily, Castile, Aragon, France, was annexed by France, stopped being a core of Aragon, stopped being a core of France, was liberated from enemy occupation, was annexed by Sardinia. So this happened around 17 years ago. I'm guessing due to rebels actually, so that's pretty nice. We have one Italian nation coming back from the dead. That's always nice to see. Crazy stuff is going on in the HRE2, man. Look at all of these nations blobbing out. Bohemia has expanded this way. Brandenburg's pretty big too. We have Danzig, Pomerania, Big Berg, Hainaut, Provence. Why are they here? Wasn't this owned by France? Burgundy, where did they pop out from? Who's this? Memmingen? Who formed Franconia? I guess we'll never know. Well, we will know if I go and check, but come on, I can't be bothered. And that's what things are looking like over here in our main region of focus. Any changes to the religion map mode? Of course not, because the Age of Reformation has ended, and no more provinces are gonna be converted by centers of Reformation, unless of course the nations convert them themselves. Not a lot of changes in the New World. Everything is as we left it off last time. The Netherlands are colonizing. I'm happy to say yes, they did form. We also have Iceland existing. Russia is looking pretty big. They're fighting Oirat right now. The Timurids are huge. Can't seem to form the Mughals just yet though. They can't. Will they do it by the end of the game? Who knows? Will one of these nations form Italy? Who knows? I don't think so. Ooh, the two Sicilies are losing against the Mamluks. They are the attacker, but negative 22% war score. What do they want from the Mamluks though? Well, they do desire a bunch of provinces over here. Not enough to form Italy though. I hope they will. I guess we'll have to see. We'll check back in 1730 and see if we'll have any of these nations becoming revolutionary. So now it's 1730 and lots of drama has been going on. Let's jump in and see exactly what's happened, where we can notice that, well, the Ottomans have blown up even further. Man, it looks like they never recovered from those 3 simultaneous losses to the Timurids, Russia, and the two Sicilies, and look at how tiny they are right now. In fact, they're losing over right now to Russia once again. But going back to the nations, we're focusing on the two Sicilies, Venice, Genoa. Look at how big the two Sicilies are, man. Massive, massive nation. They have lost some provinces over here, I think, to Portugal, and they've definitely lost provinces over here to the Mamluks, but looks like they just declared a reconquest on the Mamluks, and they seem to be winning just by a bit though. We'll see if they can come around here and manage to take down these forces that are marching in Tunis. The Mamluks are looking pretty strong themselves after they recovered from their initial losses versus the two Sicilies and the Ottomans, and they're looking super strong right now. The Ottomans have basically lost all possessions over in Europe, holding on to only these two provinces right here and their main power bases, Anatolia, some provinces here, some provinces here. Venice is looking pretty strong. They've expanded a lot more in the Balkans at the expense of the Ottomans, and Genoa, well, they're looking pretty nice too. They've expanded a bit in Switzerland, but not too much expansion from them. Will they be losing? No, they're allied to France, Austria, and Venice, so there really is no one who can attack them. Venice, they're allied to the two Sicilies. They won't be fighting, and the Pope is just sitting here. They have strong allies, so they won't be getting conquered either. Level 9 fort, 38 dev Rome, St. Peter's Basilica at level 3. Listen, they're doing alright. And that's what things are looking like right now for our Italian nations that we're focusing on. Oh yeah, by the way, Savoy, they're still alive, chilling over here in Navarra. What can we say about them? Not much else. Styria has replaced Sicily, and lots of nations are blobbing out hard, like the Timurids, Shun, Russia, Songhai, the Mamluks, and it's looking pretty fun for them, definitely. On the great power list, we still only have the two Sicilies, but we'll see if any of these other guys will manage to climb up there in the last 100 years, or if the two Sicilies will fall from their greatness and be replaced by some other nation. That's our situation in 1730. Let's take a look at if the revolution has spawned, and let's see. I'm not noticing seeing it anywhere. Looks like the revolution either hasn't spawned or it did, but it fizzled out. But I don't think it spawned. We'll check back in 1780 and see if we have any important changes. Alright, so it's 1776 and the game keeps crashing. I barely got it to this point. It just crashes every year. And I think this is where we're gonna call it because there's no way we're gonna make it to 1821. So let's take a look at everything that has happened in this scenario where Italian regions were united in 1444. As you all know, we created nations each in their own culture group. We had Milan, Sardinia, Piedmont, Genoa, Sardinia, Tuscany, Ferrara, Venice, Dalmatia, the Pope, Naples, Sicily, and even Malta. And now, at the end of our scenario, a little premature one, we only have a few of those nations left. Genoa, Savoy, which didn't exist then, Venice, the two Sicilies, and the Pope. Those are the nations that are left. Some nations popped out of existence immediately, such as Malta, Dalmatia, and Sardinia, Piedmont, and these nations over here continued to dominate until the end of the game, especially the two Sicilies, and they've become one of the most powerful nations in the world. Starting off in the north, we can see that France has taken over a big chunk of northern Italy, owning all of these two areas, and along with a big portion of Lombardy as well. Genoa has expanded over in Switzerland, and Venice has expanded into southern Austria and in the Balkans as well. The Pope, they've kept Rome the entire game, surviving. Of course, no one dares take Rome, and Genoa also has a bit of Tuscany and Corsica too. But man, Sicily, forming the two Sicilies, and then becoming the biggest surprise of this campaign. They are honestly insane and way overpowered. At least they were in this scenario. I don't know what got into them, but a huge shout out to them. Oh, by the way, the two Sicilies, they're Orthodox. Why? Well, they are a junior partner of Russia, dominating the entire game, only in the end to get PU'd by Russia. And this was a random PU. Russia didn't claim their throne and force it on them. There was no succession war. Boom, they just became a junior partner of Russia, and that's why they're Orthodox now. They're even converting provinces, good job, but they have converted everything to Catholic, which they conquered previously. They expanded in the Balkans as well, taking these provinces here, these here, everything from the Ottomans, even pushing into Anatolia. They got a foothold in the Maghreb early on, wiped out Tunis. They've even pushed down into Western Africa, man. These provinces over here, they're owned by the two Sicilies, and they've started pushing well into Egypt, losing some provinces, but then later gaining them back. And honestly, a huge shout out to them, a very, very big surprise. Elsewhere in the world, this is what the HRE looks like. Some nations blobbing. Austria barely exists. Bohemia is pretty big. We have some formidable nations such as Westphalia. Lubeck's pretty big. We have Hainaut here. The Dutch exist. This is being taken over by Pomerania over here. Denmark's big. Nice chill game from Britain. Super strong game from France. They PU'd Aragon and Scotland, but they've lost the Scottish provinces and they're looking huge now. Not too strong for Castile. Portugal had an alright game. Russia is massive. Very strong Russia this game. And I've been noticing Muscovy doing really well in 1.32 in other games as well. The Mamluks also had their downfall, but they managed to recover after the Ottomans lost a couple of wars to the two Sicilies. Revolutionary Timurids apparently and Russia, and now the Ottomans have shrunk. The Mamluks are big. In Africa, Songhai was dominating one period, but not anymore. We have British Guinea and the Netherlands. Down here, everything is as usual, nothing too strange. The Mamluks have expanded in the Horn of Africa. We have a big Delhi and Andhra. Revolutionary Timurids, they had a strong game as we can see. Ming blew up, they don't exist anymore. Shun has replaced them, and we also have Dali. Nothing out of the ordinary in Southeast Asia. Portugal is here, pretty standard. We have Japan. Like I said, Russia is huge, they've conquered here as well. Going into South America, we have nations breaking free such as Colombia, Peru, Chile, and Brazil. All of these nations broke free from Castile. Then we have French Mexico, Pacifico Norte owned by Castile, California by Castile, Portuguese Louisiana, Florida owned by France, Cuba is independent too, and we have Newfoundland and British Louisiana owned by the British. Iceland exists, and that is what the world looks like. Going into the religious map mode, pretty strong Reformation this game, lots of Reformed and Protestant nations, even the Italian ones, some of them became Reformed. Britain is Anglican, nothing too out of the ordinary over here, but of course the nations have been converting the north of Africa, the ones that they conquered over there, such as Portugal and the two Sicilies. Of course the two Sicilies are Orthodox now, forced by Russia. Nothing too strange in Africa, pretty standard religious makeup. Is the same situation in South South and North America, nothing out of the ordinary. Of course, a little less totems this time because the natives have finally been nerfed. Over in Asia, once again pretty standard. Theravada has expanded a bit due to the blowing up of Ming, and in Southeast Asia this is pretty standard as well, and it's pretty standard in Australia too. The revolution did happen. It spawned in the Mamluks. As we can see, they're revolutionary. Some other nations down here in West Africa are revolutionary as well, such as Ayer. Over here we have the revolutionary Timurids. I do think it would have spread a bit more if we could continue to the end date, and maybe some European nations could become revolutionary, but unfortunately we have to end it due to the crashes, and this is what the revolution looks like right now. Going into the great powers list, we have France at number 1. Pretty expected. They had a really strong game. In fact, Russia would be at number 1, but they don't seem to have one technology. I'm guessing they don't have the Enlightenment. After that, we have Great Britain, Portugal, Delhi, Shun, Revolutionary Mamluks, and Castile. Of course, as you all know, the two Sicilies were on the great powers list at some point, and they would still be on the great powers list if they hadn't been PU'd by Russia. So a very strong campaign for them, with a slightly unfortunate end. Of course, they're loyal, so I don't think they would be breaking free even if we continued over to the end date. Going into the ledger, France has the biggest army in the world with almost 500,000 troops, followed very closely behind by Russia, Revolutionary Timurids, Mamluks, Delhi, Britain, two Sicilies, Shun, Portugal, Castile, Venice, Peru, French, Mexico, Andhra, and so on. Going into the income comparison, Great Britain has the largest income in the world with almost 600 ducats, followed by France, Russia, Delhi, Shun, Revolutionary Mamluks, Revolutionary Timurids, two Sicilies, high note of all nations, Castile, Portugal, Venice, Andhra, Peru, and so on. So overall, was this a success or a failure for the Italian nations? Well, I would say a big success for the two Sicilies, a success for Venice, and inconclusive for Genoa. Shout out to Savoy for popping out, and shout out to the Pope for surviving, but all of the other nations have been losers. So definitely a bit weaker for most of the Italian nations rather than the German ones last week, but a lot better for the two Sicilies since no other German nation last week blobbed out as much as them. So what would happen if the Italian regions were united in 1444? Well, apparently Sicily would go on to form the two Sicilies, conquer half of the Mediterranean, and get into a personal union under Russia and become Orthodox. All jokes aside, the nations that I expected to become the most powerful didn't, and the nations which I expected nothing from did everything. As always in EU4, you never know what to expect. If you want to play this scenario for yourself, this save file is available for all YouTube members in the Save Games Discord channel, and you can play as any Italian nation in 1444. Let me know in the comments below what's the next what if scenario that I should do. If you want to watch me do stuff like this live, you can follow me on twitch.tv/TheRedHawk and catch up on everything I do over there, over on the second channel. Link is in the description. If you enjoyed this video, don't hesitate to leave a like, it really helps out a lot. And if you want to see more what if videos or more EU4 videos in general, definitely hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on anything. And you can become a member today and join the Discord. The link is in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time with another EU4 video.